everybody, today we are making liquid Castile soap at home. I need to make a batch of my liquid laundry detergent, and to do that I need the liquid Castile soap. So what you're going to need is a slow cooker, not one that you use for food, so you can pick one up at Goodwill or secondhand, Facebook, but this is my old one. I bought myself a good new one for food, but this gets the job done. An immersion blender. You're going to need olive oil and coconut oil, distilled water, and lye. So we are using the potassium hydroxide lye because we are doing liquid soap. You're also going to need, for protective gear, eyewear and gloves, because you don't want to get the lye on your skin, and always have somewhere that you can wash off if you do happen to get it on your skin. And the last thing you need is a scale. You always want to follow a recipe. Because we are making a soap, it is scientific properties. You don't want to do this without a recipe. There's not really eyeballing here. So the first thing you're going to want to do is take your 24 ounces of olive oil and your 16 ounces of coconut oil and pour it into your crock pot. Okay, and you're going to put it on to high. You're gonna let this melt down, and because the coconut oil melts, you'll see when it's warm enough when all of the coconut oil is dissolved. So I'm gonna put the lid on and let that to start to warm up. Now that my oils have melted, it's time to start working with the lye, and I am going to now put on my safety gear because I don't want to get any of this on me. So gloves, and eye protection. Okay, so for the lye, we need to weigh out 265 grams of the lye. So 265. And you want to do this in a stainless steel or Pyrex bowl. Hold on, I do have to go get more because I am out of this. I'm back with more. So I'm going to finish the 265 grams. I'm back. I have the 265 grams. And what you're going to do is pour the lye into the water. You never want to pour your water into your lye. It will cause an explosion, hence the protective gear. So I'm going to move this out of the way, and I'm going to slowly pour the lye into the water while I mix it up to dissolve. It will warm up a bit while it's dissolving, which is perfectly normal. That's why you wanted a stainless steel or a Pyrex bowl. And you want to make sure you're doing this in a very well ventilated area. But once it's all dissolved, we are going to pour this into the oils. So here we go. That is warm, just like I said. Here we go. And we pour this into the oils. And the oils will go from clear to opaque, which is perfectly normal. This is when you're going to want to use your immersion blender. So I'm going to use my immersion blender, which I have right here, and I'm going to start doing the process. You want to do this for 5 minutes. So I am going to stop the timer and immersion blend for 5 minutes. Now that I've used the immersion blender for 5 minutes, you saw that it didn't become see-through anymore. It's opaque and it's a yellow color, which is fine. What's gonna happen is as you cook it, it will become translucent again. So for the next 30 minutes, every 5 minutes, you're going to come with a spatula, silicone spatula, or a heavy wooden spoon, and you will mix it. And you will do that every 5 minutes for the next 30 minutes before we start with the long cook. Once you're at the end of the 30 minutes, you're going to want to use your immersion blender one more time and really mix it all in together, and it's gonna start getting pretty thick. It's gonna be almost like an Elmer's glue consistency, if you can hear me. Once you have that Elmer's glue consistency, you're going to put the lid back on and you're going to let it cook for 5 hours. About every half hour or so, give it a good mix with your rubber spatula, silicone spatula, or a heavy wooden spoon, and that will give it the final cook down to the right consistency. And then we start the dilution process. So I still have back here the soap cooking in the slow cooker, but we're going to test it now to see if it's ready. So I have 1 ounce of the soap in this bowl, and I'm going to pour in 4 ounces of water, boiling water. Okay, so 4 ounces of water. We're gonna take it off the scale. You never wanna mix on your scale because you can break the scale and you won't know that it's off. So then I'm just gonna dissolve this into the water and let it cool. Now, if it's clear, it doesn't have to be completely see-through, without color. It just has to be clear. Then the soap is ready to be dissolved. If it does not, if it has a scum or it's not translucent, then you have to keep cooking it. But it does take a little bit to dissolve, so I am mixing it up in here. And then you let it cool, and we'll come back when it's a little cool and we'll see what it looks like and we'll know if it's ready. So I've dissolved the soap, but it is clear. There is some color to it, but there's no oil scum or soap scum on the top. It does bubble up, so it is ready to go. So I'm gonna set up for the next step and I'll be right back. Okay, so now the last step is long, but because it needs to sit for a while. So what you're going to do is you are going to take 10 cups of water and pour it into your crock pot. Okay, now you want to break up the soap that's in there, but you don't need to dissolve it. It will dissolve itself, because what you're going to do next is let it sit in this crock pot, either 8 hours or overnight, whatever works best with your schedule. If you're walking past it, you can give it a stir. Again, not necessary. You can go to bed overnight. After 8 hours, you will have Castile soap, and it's great all-purpose cleaning soap. I use it as a foundation for both my dishwashing detergent and my laundry detergent. I don't use it straight as both of those because it will be too sudsy in the machines, but it is a starting base for both. I do need to make both, so I can make a video on those if you'd like, but for now, Castile soap.
This is what it looks like. This is a half gallon.